Good day. I am Ziyi.
I am Leanne Lasagnas.
And I am Jeff Zambrano. This Pride Month, Dear Asian Youth Iloilo City proudly presents Ipabugal Mamsh, an LGBTQIA plus Chika Session.
With one of the proudest and most colorful voices of the LGBTQIA plus community here in Iloilo City, Sir Gab Umadhay.
What is Pride? How has Iloilo City progressed in terms of inclusivity and acceptance? Keep listening as we seek the answers to these questions in this interview.
I'm a capoeira. I'm a capoeira. I'm a capoeira.
Okay. So thank you good sir for accepting our invitation nga to interview you today, and very happy gid kami kay we've got this opportunity no to have someone nga may voice actually in the government when it comes to advocating for the rights of our LGBTQ. So thank you good sir for accepting our invitation, and basi may any ano kasi Lian.
Yeah, no, I'm good. So thank you very much also for this invitation. I hope in this interview I can at least translate what we had done in our community and what more can we do in our community. Sige, I'm ready for your questions if you are.
To start, sir, so may we ask for your background or like ano sir ginaubra mo subong or your current affiliation, sir?
Sige, so I'm Gab Umadhay. I am currently full-time employed at the city government of Iloilo City. I am mainly handling I am actually handling four divisions in Iloilo City. These are number one, Public Employment Service Office. I handle the labor force, the recruitment and the employment programs of Iloilo City government, as well as I am also the head for the Office of LGBT Affairs of Iloilo City. Actually, dalawa na kami ngayon who is managing. No? The directress now is Rainy Clamor. I am more of overseeing and transferring power to her because I understand na ilang years lang si Mayor. We want to make sure that we maximize the effort of Mayor. And because of the handful responsibilities bestowed to me, I want to make sure that every aspect is being given correct attention. Third is, I'm also handling the quarantine facilities in Iloilo City. Kahit ngayon, no, we still have COVID cases. So I'm handling all the data management of these COVID cases, making sure that we are responsible for not spreading the virus. Finally, no, I'm also the executive assistant of the mayor for all the events here in Iloilo City. So party tourism, in ensuring that we present the best brand of Ilonggos to the community. So yun, those are the handful responsibility that I'm handling in the Iloilo City government.
So, grabe sir na all around sa ni sir. Grabe sir. Oh. Sige sir, grabe. Wow, what an honor good no sir to have someone like you here no, sa aton yung Google Meet. Okay sir, so basi si Jeff, next question po natin Jeff.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. So, since it's June and it's Pride Month, so we'd like to ask you, sir, what does Pride Month mean to you personally, sir?
Pride Month is the month that we get to celebrate our individuality without explaining ourselves to other people. No, because of our gender, most of the times when we put our foot forward, we need to explain everything. When we are in the room, we need to shine the brightest. When we are in the race, we need to run the fastest. And when we are in the course of Quiz B, we need to be the most intelligent. This has been a constant course of always proving ourselves. Throughout the years and throughout history, the members of the LGBT had always been in the test of making sure that we prove ourselves to the community that we are worthy. But in the Pride Month celebration, we are reminding everybody that we are human too. We have downfalls in our virtues. We have also imperfections. We can never please everybody. And the Pride Month represents the protest that constant we need full-time hands. To achieve such, we need to put legislation, we need to put teeth already in the programs and services that we do for the community. We don't want to be the keychain, we don't want to be the icing on the cupcake, but we want to be the propeller for the change that we bring to the community. This is what our voices, this is what our collective voices wants to say in the Pride celebration. More than the colors that we wave, it's the sacrifices that holds the banner to ensure that the wind blows high for this one. This is what we really want to achieve in the community. We're not yet there, but we hope that in every Pride March, we achieve something for the community. And in every Pride March, we hope that next generation would be proud of what we had done for the years before them.
Wow, thank you very much, sir, for the answer to Pride Month. And surely, Pride Month means a lot to everyone this month of June. So, if I may ask another follow-up question to that, sir, do you feel represented in the current affairs as a member of the LGBT community, or is there still some room for improvement for you, sir?
Representation, yes, but we don't want to end it there, because we don't want to demand just a seat on the table, but we want to make sure that our voices are also heard. So sometimes, no, especially to homophobic leaders, they just want that we are in the table for representation, but they don't want to hear us. They don't want to listen to our concerns, no. Ang dami dyan na leaders natin sa national government, sa regional services na we are still being treated as a keychain, as just to ensure that inclusivity is practiced, multi-sectoral seats are being given. But howsoever, when asked already what contributions can you do in the community, we still are hampered by the box of the ideal sex norms. Men should do this, women should do this, nothing in between could encompass. This is our call to action for the government leaders. If you want inclusion, if you want full holistic inclusive development, we need to make sure that we also put programs that are not just dole out system, but rather really empowering the basic rights, access to basic rights. Yun yung pinakakailangan. Let's stop denying the members of the LGBT community to access the basic rights, because again, we are not PWD, we're not members of the PWD, we're not members of the senior citizen. Palagi kami nilalagay sa category na gano'n, no? PWD and senior citizen. But if you take a look at the lens of these, senior citizen and PWD are asking for privileges. Kami naman, we don't ask for privileges. We don't ask for discounts. Ayaw namin ng discounts sa shopping malls o kaya naman sa basic goods na inaalaw, no. Ayaw namin ng hindi namin kailangan ng separate comfort rooms. We just want to have access for basic rights, such as being educated without us requiring to cut our hair. We just want to be hospitalized without us asking kung sino yung doktor na pwedeng mag-handle sa amin. Kasi in the end of the day, tao din naman, pareha din naman yung systems of our body. But why do we have specific doctor just to handle us, no? And also, no, employment. Why do we just have entry level positions? Why can't managerial positions be offered to us? So these are our moving forward, no, to put really a light on this in the government issues that we sometimes neglect because we're too loud, and we're being covered by drag performances, we're being covered by all of these are our flamboyant efforts to show our personalities, but beyond drag there are more problems that we need to really call out.
Yes, for that very insightful, good sir, nga mga quotable quotes sa dayon, sir. And we're really glad to hear that, sir, ang inyo man yung perspective, no, and as well as we hope to further amplify ang mga ginambal naman, sir, sa amon man nga niche, which is ang youth, which we know that is damo-damo man kita, no, part na, sir, sa LGBTQ community, and they would be very glad to hear those nga there's someone that advocating for their rights and hopefully nga they themselves also would find their own voices to advocate for their own rights, sir. So thank you very much, good sir. So we would like to ask another question, sir. No, so as one of the icons or representatives of the LGBTQ plus community here in Iloilo, what has been your best experiences so far, sir?
Is that we are now in the LGU. Never have I ever imagined, no, in my life that I'll be sitting in the government to represent my community. When I was young, not long ago, no, pero when I was young, no, in your age, we were not allowed to put representations. There were no Vice Ganda yet in the TV. There were no representation in TikTok and social media. Hindi kami nasa-celebrate at hindi kami part ng 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 basic services. Ngayon na yung proud moment ko talaga is that we are included number 1 in employment. We put special lens on people who are trans women, trans men, who wants to access for job and not being discriminated. My office is now responsible in ensuring that we provide really holistic employment opportunities for everyone who wants to work, because on the basis of work, skills should be the highlight, not the gender, not the expression, but the skills of what you can do for the company. And this is what we can do. We've been champions to our own communities. Number 2, I've been very proud to put flags in the main roads of Iloilo City, no? Who would have imagined na pwede palang ilagyan ng mga flags ng LGBT yung ganun, no? Napaka-simple nito, pero when you are a person who've been struggling inside the closet to see representations on the mainstream media, to see representations on the key positions of the government, napaka-hopeful ng buhay mo. Nagiging mas progressive ka kasi naintindihan mo na may tutulong sa'yo. May taong mga kayang patunayan na hindi ka naiiba. So, ito yung mga proud moments ko, no, to constantly being there, to be, quote and quote, no, ayoko naman maging icon, pero at least to be a representation. To be a representation for the next generation, to tell themselves na, yes, you're now somewhat not experiencing the same discrimination that we had experienced, but howsoever you need to also put on the robe of telling yourself na may responsibility din ako for the next generations. This is how we want to say, no, that the pride is a progress and progress is a shared governance.
As you can see, sir, now that you have achieved na po yung pagka-identity figure na you become the representation, for example, the government, ikaw yung representation ng LGBTQ plus community. And so, before that, sir, diba, it was a long process naman for you before mo na-achieve, or before the whole community achieves this kind of representation. So, ano po, di ba, ang daming obstacles, ang daming hardship. So, what was your inspiration or the story behind your advocacy, and what motivated you to work in this cause?
Yun yung pinaka-favorite question ko always, no? It's because they've been asking me, why are you doing so much for the community? Maybe because I've also experienced so much pain and constantly experiencing the same pain again and again every time. Yung pinaka-motivation ko talaga is that someday we can go out on the streets holding hands and not being looked down by the community. Yung pinaka-goal ko din is that we wanna express ourselves and not required to explain why do we do this one. Yung pinaka-goal, I don't want others to experience the same kind of discrimination that I have experienced, because it's traumatic. I have seen the silver linings, but I understand not everyone can see this. So I don't want together way back when we started 2015, 2015 of organizing the whole community. It was really chaotic. Alam mo, when you put all the members of the LGBT community together, parang sabong na mga manok manok, ano, because everybody wants their voices to be heard. Yung key challenge lang doon is that remember your core. Why do you want to organize the community? And I ask myself, it's because it's not for me but for the next generations. Yun lang, constantly I remind myself that it's really for the next generation to come, and it's really for the community. Minsan I am also thinking na naaabuso na ako, but always on a sense, no, sinasabi ko na lang sarili ko na there will be goodness out of this. There will be a solution out of this one. I do not say that the community is 100% united, because it will never be 100% united. It will also be the same for it will also be the same for the women, no? Not all women can be organized. Not all men too can be organized. So as not all LGBT community can be organized. But at least, no, in my own role and in my own capacity, I can organize few key people that can replicate our voices in the barangays and replicate our voices in academic institutions, that collectively may ginagawa tayo kahit maliit lang, at least in our own sense, na i-wave natin yung flag natin for representation.
Thank you, good sir. No, also thank you for making the world better for us. Because na-feel na gid po namon, sir, man nga I think it was really harder back then, and without of your efforts, though hindi man kami maging comfortable in our own colors if wala sa naging efforts man ninyo, sir. So thank you very much. And Jeff, my next
So,
question.
now mentioned ka sir na the LGBT community started organizing a little way back, and you yourself sir have your own experiences. For you sir, what is the state of the LGBT community in Iloilo in terms of acceptance? Have you seen it change over the years?
Ang dami sigurong change, ano. Hindi lang sa Iloilo City, pero marami ding progressive cities all over the Philippines who have changed, no. Ano yung pinaka-change, collective change na experience ko is that now, no, kayo young ones are okay to wear androgynous, no, without experience androgyny without being questioned, na parang okay, statement na namin to. Way back before, hindi pwede yon, ano. Yung experience change ko is that we celebrate now same-sex partnership as early as high school. When I was in high school, I was the only flamboyant gay, no. Ako lang yung nag-iisang naka-shoulder bag. Ako lang yung isang naka-eyeliner, nag-letters, at palaging pinapagalitan. Ngayon, ang dami na, no. I was schooled in a strict Catholic institution, and the fathers always remind me to limit my flamboyancy. But howsoever, I did not allow them to stop me from spreading my colors. But now, no, I've seen that schools now are more respectful to their students in terms of allowing themselves to be expressive of how they want to be presented, as well as students now, no, are more vocal about how they want to experience themselves. They don't want to be boxed. So yun yung mga pinaka ko, no, sabi ko nga sa mga kabaklaan ng mga senior, sabi ko sa kanila, may talaga, may patutunguhan na yung mga pinaglaban natin, kasi ngayon, no, you're more vocal. Hindi kami ganun ka-vocal with what we want, no. Kayo, you're really vocal about it, and please don't stop being vocal, because you will really reap what you sow of the fights that you are pushing forward.
Last question from you, sir. So as we have seen, there has been a lot of changes, but these changes and these progresses would have not come without some challenges, for sure. So for you, sir, what has been some notable challenges or difficulties in your work that you have faced, and how did you overcome them?
Yung challenges talaga is that kasi the Philippines is a patriarchal community. The strength of man is being measured by the fist, the strength of his fist, no. yun yung stereotype na gano'n ang hirap kasi basagin. And because of that, no, the challenge is really to constantly prove ourselves that we're strong too, that we are smart too, and we are valuable and trustworthy too. Yun yung mga challenges. How did I overcome it? Siguro I constantly make sure that when I do things, I don't just represent myself, but I represent the whole community. So yung akin lang is that when I produce something, I make sure that it's sustainable and it can be replicated by the next generation. So I have overcome this with the help of my friends too, with the help of a strong supporting community. Pinaka-importante talaga, you find your own family, you find your own craziness. Kasi alam ko lahat tayo may topak. Lahat tayo may kagagahan sa sarili, at hanapin natin yung mga katulad natin. And when we find these people will amplify all your efforts and ensure that always when you're down about yourself, you're reminded na madami kang kasama sa laban na to. Always just put yourself na hindi ka nag-iisa sa pinaglalaban mo. You may be alone now, but you will never be alone forever in your causes of your advocacy. So yun talaga, always put into yourself that you are not alone in whatever you're doing.
Sige, thank you good sir for your wonderful answer and very encouraging and empowering, especially sa mga parts ng community mismo and sa mga people around them. So sir, bilang part ng isang city government as a representative of the community and syempre as a public servant man. So how do you, along with your organizations and syempre the city government, work towards creating safe spaces for the LGBTQIA individuals, both online and offline? And along with this, paano ka mo usually shed visibility and empowerment sa LGBTQIA community?
Yung kinagandahan lang ng governance ni Mayor Treñas, he especially put highlight on shared governance, on the ability of each individual to participate in bayanihan and servant leadership. When he started, when 2019, he called us, out of the blue, nagkakapi ako, tapos he called me. He said that, Gab, kailangan natin ng representation for the LGBT community. All throughout when he said that kailangan ng representation, it was not just giving us a seat, but he was really giving us voices. He allowed us to participate in major positions in the government, as well as he gave us priority in the services that we had. Because of that, we were able to magnify our efforts in the 180 barangays that we have here in Iloilo City. Now, we're happy to celebrate that each barangay in the Iloilo City has its own barangay-based LGBT organizations that context their pain and their context their effort. Anong kinagandahan ng program na to? Because we have now representations per barangay, may mga mama na tutulong sa mga young ones na nagabayan din sila to make decisions correctly and to understand also where they're coming from. From these collective voices, we can pattern our programs into a unique way that addresses these barangays that are experiencing the problems. Ayaw namin ng top-down method of delivering governance. We want to make sure that the solution comes from the grassroots level and is being shared in executive positions. Through this, we amplify our voices not by just putting pamphlets, but by really allowing everybody. Pag sinabing everybody from Buconera Queens, from Contesera drag queens to discreet bisexual, we allow them to really have their voices in their small ways in the barangays, and we bring it to a level of discussion in an executive board. So through this, naibigyan natin ng mga context programs, lahat sila nabigyan natin sila. So ano yung struggle natin ngayon is that we hope that we constantly ensure that the same level of energy is being transcended throughout, no? Kasi alam mo, medyo nakakapagod din minsan mag-deal sa mga kabaklaan, sa mga katomboyan at saka sa mga transgender altogether, no? Nakakaloka din minsan. Pero yung goal natin is to make sure that we also brew people who will take a stand after us, na hindi lang kami dapat yung maging magaling, kundi yung mga barangay natin dapat magaling din sila na iprotektan yung sarili nila. So yun yung mga pinaka achievement natin on shared governance.
So, yun, sir, no, so we have heard that you have, parang ang dami ng achievements, no? Specifically dun nga, we were so actually amazed to hear na there are actually nasa all 180 barangays. So, meron na tayo parang help desk rin for our LGBTQ community. So, when it comes to, meron ba mga specific stories na or impactful moments, specifically po pa talaga sa Iloilo Pride team, like while working with the organization or with the government, meron po bang specific stories na parang nakaka-inspire or would motivate others na rin po, no, to like advocate for LGBTQ rights? Parang ganun po, sir.
Ang dami, no? Ang daming many to mention. Especially siguro nung pandemic. A lot of our community were displaced because our community was categorized as non-essentials. Yung mga trabaho ng mga members of the LGBT was non-essentials because we were involved in beauty industry, we were involved in events management, we were involved in special programs. Yun yung mga racket ng mga kabaklaan, ng mga katomboyan, tsaka mga Mamsh natin, ng mga trans woman, trans men. Yung because of that, no, hindi nabigyan sila ng proper chances to better their economic state. Because of that, no, nung pandemic, may SAP tayo, may Special Amelioration Program. Sa Special Amelioration Program natin, kinategorize natin yung tulong natin per family. Hindi natulungan yung mga LGBT members because hindi sila categorized as family. Hindi sila nabilang sa family because hindi sila, again, man and woman partnership o kaya naman hindi sila head of family. Pero kung tignan nyo, talagang members of the LGBT community are always the head of the family, no? Pero because of them being gay, no, hindi sila nabibigyan ng tamang karapatan pantao. So what we did was we made programs for them to have their own SAP. Nagawa kami ng SAP programs namin para sa kanila. Nabigyan natin ng ayuda yung mga nasa community natin at saka nabigyan natin ng temporary work. When nagkulang tayo ng mask during the pandemic, natandaan nyo when isang box ng mask nasa 1,500. Ginawa natin, no, para ma-lower down yung demand, nag-create tayo ng supply from the members of the LGBT community. Nag-sow yung members of the LGBT community natin ng around 100,000 masks. Naibigay natin ito sa community ng libre at saka with them sewing those masks, nabigyan natin sila ng trabaho. And the people really made a realization na participatory siya in terms of hindi na kami ngayon, hindi kami beneficiaries, kundi kami yung propeller of solutions. Naging solusyon kami, hindi kami nagiging nagtagapag-antay lang ng ayuda sa gobyerno. During the pandemic, maraming mga LGBT members na displaced at nailagay sa mga BPO industries. The BPO industries, while it's a very dynamic organization, madami pa ding traditional structure. Anong ginawa natin, no? Ang daming trans women na natakot kasi baka akala nila na ma-judge sila, no? Pero with lateral communications, with with stakeholders. We ensured that they were not discriminated in their workplaces. Trans women now have long hairs in their economical work. No, trans women are availing access of public comfort rooms for women and not men. No, ito yung mga because they were vocal that they don't want to be boxed in the category of PWD and senior citizen. So, yun yung mga fight of our lives that changed the perspective or changed the landscape of the LGBT community. Also, no, marami tayong mga mama na nakalimutan sa barangay na akala natin na LGBT are inevitable for life, no? Pero tumatanda din kasi yung mga kabaklaan natin. At saka when they are older, hindi na sila nakakapag-participate sa mga racket nila. So what we did, no, binigyan natin sila ng livelihood. Nagpatayo tayo ng mga tiyangge for them, no? Para naman mailagyan sila ng mga solusyon para sa panghanap buhay natin. Because of that, no, they generated additional income for their family and for themselves. Now they are financially independent. So yun yung mga kwento ng mga kasama natin sa LGBT community na i-champion natin. Hindi siya perfect again, no. We're sharing this story not to boast, but these stories because it works. It works in the community, and we want to inspire people to replicate the same amount of energy to make this story happen also in their own localities para naman alam nila kung what works and what don't work in their communities.
Yes, po, sir. So, thank you again for that. And we have received po, sir, we have heard that your organization or your advocacy doesn't only aim for like surface level na representation, but also sustainability and impact na, sir, no, sa everyday lives ng ating LGBTQ community. So, given, sir, no, sa mga naging past and recent achievements, kanya, no, what are other goals and aspirations that you have in the future in terms of so, kasi may mga plans, sir, sa city government.
Pinaka-goal talaga natin is to make our voices louder, na ipasa na si Soji Bill. Ang tagal na, bakit hindi pa maipasa, bakit na nire-rename yung Soji Bill. Ano yung pinagkaiba ni Soji Bill sa ibang bill? Kasi si Soji Bill, specific siya on understanding the discrimination that we are having in the community. Si Soji Bill, hindi siya magpapasa ng same-sex marriage sa simbahan. Yun yung pinaka gusto namin i-prove yung point, no. It's not a jump start to the marriage in church. We may push for marriage, but for civil union of state, not in church. We respect the church and we respect their beliefs, but the church needs also to respect our life. We wanna also push forward the same-sex union na kung saan makaka-avail yung partners namin ng mga benefits na nailagay namin, no. Ayaw namin mamatay mag-isa, ayaw namin that yung pinaghirapan namin matunaw na lang, no. We also would like to dedicate this to our loved ones, and these are our partners. We wanna put our partners as beneficiaries for PhilHealth. We want to put our partners as beneficiaries for insurances. We want to put our partners as beneficiaries for our wealth that we had gained throughout this year, no. Throughout our life year, I mean. Yung pinaka-important is talagang sana, no, they will be able to see that it's really important also for us to have succession of what we have for ourselves. Not everyone kasi has an accepting family, no. Not everyone kasi has the same level of family that I myself is enjoying. But because of that, we want to make sure na kung sino yung piliin nating partner, sila yung sanang makakapag-avail ng mga pinaghirapan natin sa buhay. Yun yung mga gusto nating i-push forward. Finally, no, gusto natin i-push forward na sana, no, in unison yung God code sa buong Pilipinas maging sensitive to to protect the rights of the LGBT community. Yung God Code kasi in Iloilo City, yehey kasi nailagay na natin siya na ma-include yung members of the LGBT community. However, for the national perspective, hindi pa rin. Women protection pa rin siya. While we are acknowledging that women needs to be protected, however, gender and development should be included. It should not just talk on the language of women, but it should talk on the language of everybody, every gender's protection. Na kung sino man may abuse, dapat mailagay natin in context na programa siya para sa lahat, hindi lang sa women. Yun.
Sige, so thank you gid sir for your answers gid, and hopefully ang tani ma-reach gid naton ang point nga tanan nga goals nga na malabot gid naton kag syempre ma-enjoy gid sang each member sang LGBTQ community ang ila nga deserve man nga rights. So ang medyo padulong na ta sa end, so maas lang kami sir sa mga nagasuporta bala sa community, so what we call as allies. Sa imo sir, what is your message to them, and how do you think allies can actively support the LGBTQ community beyond Pride Month?
Napaka-importante yung role ng allies because si ally ensures yung totoong inclusivity, a holistic perspective. Again, inclusivity does not ask for privileges. Inclusivity asks for harmonious relationship with everybody. For allies, no, it's heartwarming, nakakataba sa puso na yung mga super ally natin nagpo-push forward ng mga advocacies na members of LGBT community. Yung pinaka-message is that wag sana kayong magsawa at yung pinaka-intindihan natin na when we love someone, no, we don't just pick the roses but we also pick the thorns. Hindi pwede na mahal nyo lang kami kasi kailangan nyo kami. Mahal nyo kami dapat kasi may mga impurity. Mahalin nyo kami in totality kahit yung mga impurities namin. Hindi pwede na friends nyo lang kami kasi kailangan nyo yung creative persona namin. Pero friends nyo kami kahit ang sobrang ingay namin, o kaya naman friends nyo kami kahit medyo may mga kabastusan na hindi maiintindihan. Yun yung in totality, no? Love, if you're an ally, be an ally of everything, not just pick the buds of the roses, but pick the thorns that we are bearing, because everybody has its own thorns too. So talagang magmahal ng todo, magmahal ng tama, at magmahal ng totoo. Yun yung pinaka-importanting mensahe sa mga allies natin.
Wow, thank you good sir. And syempre last question na lang, sa ato naman nga mga ang imo mga ka-Mamsh, mga everyone nga part ng LGBTQIA community, what is your message to them?
Yung pinaka-message natin sa members of the LGBT community is that we have journeyed far. Malayo na tayo sa kinagisnan natin. Pero hindi pwedeng hanggang dito lang tayo. But we need to make sure that we protect everybody and everybody that we are not yet joined in the community. Tandaan natin na kung ano man ang na-avail natin ngayon, we pay it forward to those who sacrificed before us. And pinaka-importante, no, wag natin ibaba yung bandera when we are questioned. Put your banners higher than ever, and ensure that we share value of respect for everyone. Kung gusto nila ng respeto, dapat respetuhan din nila tayo. Yun yung pinaka-importante. And finally, no, the rainbow reminds us, no, when we started with the rainbow, it reminds them diverse personalities. If the you would come together, it means that the you had harmony. Yun yung pinaka-importante sa atin. We find peace in whatever we do. We don't unite para makipaglaban, pero tandaan natin na with great power comes with great responsibility. Naway tandaan din natin na kung sino mang politiko ang gumagamit sa atin, kailangan that we always put them as accountable to their promises. Kung nag-promise man sila sa atin na sige, tayo yung mag-lead ng production para sa kanila, pero ano yung benepisyo na kayang kunin natin sa kanila? Yun yung dapat doon. Huwag tayong magpagamit sa mga sa panandaliang ligaya. Magpagamit tayo sa mga bagay na pwedeng ikauunlad ng ating community. Yun.
No. Thank you, good sir. Thank you so much for
Sige, naman.
your answers to our questions. Z, Jeff.
Sir, ang habol lang siya, sir, ng segue question. But, I'm out of character. Wait lang, mapanood na, like, sorry, sir. Okay, so, ano lang, sir, I'm just curious, kung galing, sir, like, may thoughts, bala, sir, sa mga school administrators enforcing, bala, mga strict dress codes. So, ano, sir, like, what role could you have when in case some um, what can you do? Kasi may harap na, for example, like, the pride team or sa government to make say, bala sila, sir, like, on how, syempre, independent, na diba, sir, yung entities or schools, but anong pwede, wala maubra, sir? Like, for example, kami, sir, nga, mga officers, bigyan sa school, like, for example, like, ano nga encouragement or anong ways pwede naman maubra? How can we address that sa mga admins sa school naman? So, when it comes sa advocating, sir, for example, basic rules sa dress code, like, wala pa siya gapik sa grades naman, di ba? The way we speak, the way we talk, di ba? And also, man, sa mga pinaka-hard yun, sir, sorry, matrauma daw. Joke lang, sir. Pero, like,
Okay lang, okay lang.
for example, wala like, syempre, nagpapulit pa kami sa balay, isang ginikanan naman. So, how can we, parang, as youth, parang na-express, considering na doon damo, pabla kami sir na restrictions of external factors na consider, like, dependent kami on our parents, kasi do may varying beliefs. So, ako na sir, first siguro sir sa mga schools, and second is sa balay sir, sa lang. Yeah.
Naintindihan ko yung struggle mo, no? Because you're not the only one who struggles with this one. Ang dami sa community natin. Tandaan lang natin, the school is not separated with the state, no? The law is absolute to everyone and no one is exempted to it, no? Pag sinabi natin may anti-discrimination ordinance tayo dito sa Iloilo City, everybody needs to abide, even if it is a Catholic organization. Bakit? Bakit kailangan nilang mag-abide? It's because the laws were there to protect humanity. So, kailangan natin paintindihin sa mga school administrator, no, na hindi kayo exempted sa batas. Hindi kayo exempted sa ordinances ng city. Bakit? Pag sinabi nating no parking, exempted yung private school sa no parking, bakit parang gano'n? Hindi pwede gano'n. Pag sinabi natin genocide is not allowed, exempted agad. Pag private school, pwedeng mag-genocide sa school nila, hindi pwede. Ganun yung language dapat natin. Paintindihan natin sa mga community. Struggle siya, no, kasi ang daming traditional perspective. Ang daming school administrator na matanda. At ang dami ding school administrator na ayaw mag-take risk kasi natatakot baka makuha sila sa posisyon nila or baka ma-fire sila sa posisyon nila. Pero intindihin lang natin na ginawa yung mga laws and legislation na to na it underwent no series of consultation. It underwent series of community-based organizations. Wherein lahat naman na consider, pero ngayon dapat hindi pwedeng i-undermine siya. Yung number 2, no, about your family, no, alam mo kasi may generation gap tayong tinatawag. Your mothers may have lived in a different era. You may have lived in a different era. One can never harmonize immediately. There should be may theory of may theory of forming tayo. Daanan dapat natin yung process. There will be storming of your ideas, but please don't make sure that you don't shut yourself up. You don't keep quiet, no? Importante, kailangan to constantly prove yourself. Sorry for that one, pero we just need to prove ourselves that this is not a fad, no? Hindi siya panandali ang ligaya lang yung in-experience namin, kundi ito yung talaga yung totoong pagkatao namin.
Yeah, thank you, good sir, for that very insightful good card. For example, for us students nga pwede kasi namon bala ma-suggest namon school administrators ang sa amo na concern, especially because they're actually sa mga schools these days, since educational institutions meron din nga projects for that, and mostly for violence against women nga given tatlo ang budget nila. So it's very nice na ma-expand namon ang kinds of support nga mahatag namon sa amon fellow students and sa mga communities.
Well, I don't have other questions, pero I'm very, very glad and honored to have Sir Gab with us this afternoon. With his experiences, with all his insights, we are more than blessed to have this interview this afternoon para we get to have the side uh, aside from the government and to have shed light on this matter, especially ngay subong nga Pride Month. And thank you very much, sir, for being a beacon of hope nga mayroon pang pag-asa na we can have a better tomorrow. Salamat din, sir. And that has been Ipabugal mo, Mamsh.
Ikaw, may ara ka man balas ang ipabugal?
This has been Ziyi.
Leanne?
And Jeff.
Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you proudly waving your own flag.